And welcome back, everybody, to another glorious CBC podcast. This might be 2 weeks in a row, I think. I'm not sure. Has it been 2 weeks in a row that we're actually putting together a show? It's been a while.
Technically, I guess.
I'd say technically it might be within the 7 days, but if you're going by the working week, no, it's not.
Okay, well, whatever constitutes a week for us. So for us, I guess it goes up to 14 days. So a week in CBC time is 2 weeks. It kind of checks out.
We age slower.
It's true. It's time dilation. We're like going close to black holes and things,
We've manipulated the construct.
Well, as always, everybody, we got what I assume will be a pretty good show. I might be lying. I'm not sure, but we'll see how it shakes out by the end of it. As always, I am the host of this here fine podcast of sorts. You guys can find me and all the things down in the link tree. And if you guys are listening to this on Twitch, and it's a good thing I have it right up here, or you should just go to Twitch anyway, and you can click that little crown. You know what that does? Just use your Amazon Prime, subs to us, and there you go. It's nice. You get some little perks and things. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But the next person who is not here, because I told you, you do Avatar slander, you're kicked out. That's Ricardo. We can damn the boot. He's now out in the streets of New York. He's going to have to, room with Nick pretty soon, because he's going to be broke. That's what you get, rooming with Nick. That's your destiny now. So, R.I.P. Ricardo. But, yeah, I am joined by Mitch.
I was going to make a joke about Flash there, and I completely forgot where I was going to go with it. Yeah, forget it. Go in the description and follow my link tree. Yeah, that's the one.
I was going to make a Flash joke, but I realized they just make themselves, so... Yeah.
It's going to be like, if this is bad, don't worry about it. Something cool will happen, and then everyone will forget the bad thing, and it'll be like, oh, look at the cool thing. Yeah. Because nerds do that now. They pretend to care about crap and then drop anything when it's cool.
Yeah. Depends on where you look at it, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, definitely. But, hey, we are also joined by Tristan.
Yeah, I'm here today. You can follow my Linktree stuff as well. It's gonna be interesting today, I assume.
Very much so. Very much so. We got a couple of things to talk about, including the Phase 4 wrap-up Part 2, which we can get to. So, with that all out of the way, I don't think there's anything else for housekeeping or anything like that. So we can just get straight into this show that we have here. So we're going to do just that with our first. Let's talk about the brand new trailer, The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So starting this right off, this is the trailer that I needed. I was in with the first teaser trailer, but I was still I need to see more. I need some of the, dialogue, the witty banter, the things that James Gunn made work for me in Guardians 1. I think I saw all of that here with this trailer. I absolutely loved it. Got super hyped, seen a couple times now. I am back on the Guardians hype train after 2 derailed me. So, yeah, I'm on board. What did you think of it, Mitch?
The second I saw the first trailer or teaser, I was on board. I adored that thing, and I adored this thing as well. Even if it has got a very similar shot to Black Adam, that looks absolutely crazy. But at least Warlock's head is in proportion to the rest of his body. So there's.
And watch it get warped during action scenes.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But you say that actually, this trailer, there's a little quick glimpse of Drax being like comic book Drax, because he's going all out on Warlock in one of the shots, and it's just like it's taken 10 years near enough, but we finally have Drax doing Drax things. It's like, thank you, God.
I liked it. Hopefully it's technically, because from what I've gathered from this recent trailer is that someone's going to die, but I'm not so sure it's going to be Rocket at that point.
Oh, yeah, someone's dying. 100%.
I'm banking on no one dying.
It's just
I think someone dying is the obvious thing, and I don't think he's going to do that.
Because that's all I think is when listening to the voiceovers and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think it's going to be Rocket, but it's going to be someone because of what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Yeah, I feel like the safest characters are the CG characters. So like I feel like a Groot, Rocket, they're safe because they're CG. Why would you kill them off? Because they can live forever. You know, that type of
Yeah.
deal. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when looking at the other characters, like I'm pretty sure the last month and a half of interviews have given us the clue that Drax is not making it out alive, right? Like Batista has been so vocal now for so long. Like,
I say if no one's going to make it out, it's going to be Drax. But even then, at the same time, you can retire that character in a way that lets them like still be alive and just get on with it.
yeah, 100%.
Because if he wanted to, he could do actually play into the whole Drax is a resurrected being in the comics thing anyway.
Yeah.
The whole what's his name? It's not Arthur Curry, is it? That's Aquaman.
Arthur Douglas.
Arthur,
I think it's Douglas.
I said
right?
Arthur Douglas. Yeah. I was close. Not. Yeah, you can go with that and lean into it like, oh, this Drax dies, but he gets resurrected later down the line with a new actor and is a bit more Draxy in a way. You can do it that way.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that's kind of the route they could take. I mean, it's Marvel Studios would be no stranger to taking a concept from the comics and reversing it, like Vision, and look at what they did with Wonder Man and everything. They're completely tackling it from a different angle. So I definitely think like if you watch the trailer, they're putting heavy emphasis on Rocket, which does make sense. Again, like he's
this is essentially Rocket's origin story, right?
Yeah.
Gunn's even come out here and said Rocket is the secret protagonist of these movies, and you look at that and it's like, yeah, he's not lying, but so it's nice to actually get that origin story.
Yeah, it is,
even if it is going to hurt. No, he's a little naked raccoon on the bench.
This is how they're doing it, and like just looking at the bigger picture with it as well, I'm kind of like wondering, where do you leave the Guardians at by the end of this? Because this is obviously, James Gunn has said now, this is the end of the road for his Guardians. But the brand is going to continue. That's been made very clear. If Ant-Man is probably going to live past 4, and Thor has, and Cap has, different iteration of Cap, but the Guardians will evolve as well. So
this still probably going like an Annihilator situation.
Yeah, in hindsight, it's like it's just mind-boggling to put your head around, because most of the time with these types of movies is a trilogy and that's it. But the MCU is moving forward with these characters, and they're getting a fourth or a fifth movie, or co-starring in another movie to continue. So for anyone seeing movie 4 and beyond, it's not out of the ordinary that you'd see it, or it would not be welcome to have a continuation of a version of that character.
Yeah. Well,
my question is, how many of them stay for the next one? Like Drax is obviously out. He's not coming back. Like does
most likely for
Chris Pratt carry on? No.
Maybe, but what I'm like from what Armin said is like you can like just put down Rocket and Groot to
they're
continue on.
I would also say like Nebula is probably staying on, right? Like,
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean,
though I did like at the end of that trailer where it was where you see Gamora saying, "It sounds like you two are a couple more than me," and then it just goes into like, stop saying that stuff, and then you see Peter just like, "What?" Because he has like a second thought about it.
Great banter between.
I don't know how I feel about that. It's just like, no, you two aren't a thing. Don't do that.
I'm cool with it.
I mean, it's fine. It'll be funny. It'll work. It's
yeah.
Like, we're not supposed to be together. It's not how this goes.
I know a lot of MCU fans didn't like it, but I did like the James Gunn had the little Among Us nod to the suits.
See, everyone's saying it's an Among Us thing, except for Gunn. He's like, no, it's not a reference, but I don't believe him.
I don't believe him. Yeah, no.
Just like, yeah, sure. You brought out these colourful spacesuits. Not when Among Us is huge, because it's not anymore. It's kind of died down, but yeah, I don't believe him for a second.
Yeah.
He is in fact sus. Is what
this has all been a con. That's what. Like he's It makes
like
sense.
Rihanna's halftime show. Like there was a lot of Among Us going on in there.
The Super Smash Bros. Stage was floating high.
I was waiting for the that one Super Smash Brothers song to start playing. That, like every kid was obsessed with for years.
Well, don't worry. By the time we get to Guardians 9, the Smash Bros. Song will be like 50 years old and retro, so it can fit into that movie.
Oh no.
It's true.
James Gunn's just like, I'm gonna use it. He's still kicking around in 50 years.
So I guess that's kind of it. Quickly talking about the Guardians. Obviously, the closer we get to the release in May, we're going to talk way more about it as the marketing is officially, well, the first like press release and everything starting the week after Ant-Man, which is next week. So expect Guardians news and interviews to start hitting us real soon. So we'll get back to this.
It's like we saw what's her name? Daniela Melchior?
Mm-hmm.
She was in this trailer, and I think she's just literally just a Pinkery.
Yeah. Yep.
I saw her, and I was like, "Come on, why isn't she like Violet Venom Moondragon or something?"
Yeah, I saw that.
She still could be, but
true.
Right now, I am slightly let down by her not being anyone big from the trailer.
Fair enough.
It's what it is.
It is what exactly. The next thing we got to talk about is Michael Keaton is back as the Batman, and the cameo from The Flash will be featured in this film.
Yay!
I'm of two minds where it has some cool moments, but it's like they were highlighting Keaton as Batman more than
this is the trailer where they know what they're doing. This is there was a trailer where I'm like, they know what they're doing, what they're hiding. This is it. Like
But this is the trailer where they know nerds have the weakest will on a damn planet from being shoved in lockers, either not enough or too much. So you show them one little shiny cool thing, and everything's forgotten. Everything's forgotten and forgiven, and they'll rush out.
It's just no. It's not even that. It's just like it's okay, but it's like it's for me anyway. It's hard to believe you'd have like a close to 7-year-old Batman who's not in like a specialized suit or anything, doing takedowns and still fighting like he's in his 30s. And especially with some of the
especially you've got like Ben Affleck over here with what clearly looks like, you know, the magic knee brace from Dark Knight Rises.
And it's like some of the CG for said Batman is not the best. I know I've seen, especially on Twitter, with some say it's fine. And I'm looking at it, I was like, he's kind of looking like was it one of the Arkham games Batman? Did you see?
They're looking rubbery.
Again, like I don't mean to, because we've defended plenty of CG in this, and there's still time to go. Like obviously, right? Like, but it is the point where people online are like, well, it's fine. I'm like, if this was any other movie from any other studio, you would be making thumbnails pointing at the, like, you know exactly what would happen.
Here's the thing. I did see some comments, and these specific ones did stick out to me, is where someone said it's fine, it's it's good, it's not as much as it's not as bad as some of the MCU TV series, and someone comes and comments back saying that to get to Thanos level of realism for CG, they've been working on it for years. And then another one says this movie's been in the works since 2015.
So
this is the thing, right? This movie's been delayed over the pandemic. This is not changing. Between now and the movie release, they're highly doubting you're going to see this.
You're not going to get much.
I mean, it's like the whole and again, I'll call out the MCU when it's warranted, but remember, Black Widow and Eternals sat on a shelf for well over a year and a half, both complete, and they didn't bother to go back and change some of the shade, like shockingly looking bad scenes. Like the scene that sticks out to me is the Yelena scene.
Hold on now.
Are you gonna tell me Eternals has perfect CG?
I'm not going to say perfect, because I'm not like the Cameron chuggers who think everyth's
yes, all of his stuff
and
is
never
perfect.
going to, we're never going to evolve past this one singular point. But where's a bad shot in Eternals?
Okay, so in the final battle,
I'll hear none of this. Absolutely none.
There is some bad CG in there, especially because like when Makari is moving fast, right? She looks stunning. but you can tell they put the effort into her looking stunning, where some of the stuff, when you don't pay attention to her, you're like, it's looking a little rubbery around her. I'm telling you.
That's bias. That's
eternal, anti-eternal bias.
Yeah, that's Cameron coming and like crawling his way out the skin, just being like.
I'm telling you, like Marvel has some bad CG.
Puppet.
Like,
I mean, yeah, they do. You know, look at the Thor: Love and Thunder, right? Like that floating head, and they even changed that, and it's just like, oh, it's still bad.
It's still got bad. Yeah.
You're never gonna make a floating head look good. Like, don't even try.
One of my friends the other day was rewatching Thor: Love and Thunder, and they just kind of had it on the TV while it was over, and his wife made the comment. It was her first time kind of glancing at it, and she goes, "What's wrong with her helmet?" And like, she knows nothing about this stuff. And I was like, "Oh, you talking about Jane?" She was like, "Yeah." Is she wearing a helmet? I was like, "No, that's CG." She was like, "I think I can tell." I was like, "You can." And I think the Flash trailer has some of those problems in it with that, and there's quite a few scenes that stick out. At the same time, there's quite a few scenes in this that I look at, I'm like, this gets me. Like, every scene Supergirl is in, I'm like, I want more of this. She looks incredible. Like,
I really hope she's the Supergirl in the movie they're doing.
Same.
What was it? Woman of Tomorrow, whatever it's called. I can't remember right now, but yeah, I hope she stays on because she looks fantastic.
Yeah, she looks great. That suit
apart from that one shot where she's busting out of the thing and there's Keaton and like Stretch Armstrong appears and like she's clearly made of rubber. And, But apart from that,
yeah. I mean, also let's be real. Most of the highlight, I think, everything I've seen, everybody posting about it, is the Keaton scenes, the suit, the Elfman music remix. That's all incredible, in my opinion. It looks. It's everything I wanted, I think.
Yeah, and some people, especially some of the, like, one of the things that people do like was when past Barry and current Barry, they're fighting and they do that one thing where their heels touch before they let out I guess a shockwave. Where some fans were saying is like, it would have been better if it wasn't just all Barrys, it was at least one of the other Flashes. And what some have been saying is that in earlier scripts and such, when they were trying to plan this out, is that it was potentially going to be like Jay mostly, but they for some reason had wanted to have the role where they can't have two different speedsters and in the same, I guess, time period, which is.
But we'll have the same one 4 times over.
Yeah,
we all know the Dark Flash, the weird rock looking dude, is clearly going to be a Barry Allen.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, they're not having different actors play Flash. They're having 2 Batmen, and they finally managed to put the blue and gray suit in the film, and it looks hideous. Like,
the monkey paw.
Yeah,
I want the blue and the gray. Fine, but it's going to be
surprised that certain fan base is saying it's amazing. I looked at it and I was
no, like, I don't know if it's
just take off all the weird like hexagon armor stuff and that thing might have potential to look good.
Yeah.
It's still a Batfleck suit, which is a major issue.
Also, what we know about that suit, if you look at all the set photos from those exact action sequences, that's all post-production. Because that suit on set looked just like Ben Affleck's normal colors. So it's a little uncanny valley with how they just kind of dripped blue and gray on it. Like,
they just changed the level on the sliders.
I mean, I know you are a Keaton fan of that version of Batman. Tell me your opinion on when he opens up I guess, his little area for all his Batsuits. You see all the other different versions of that Batsuit. Because from what I've seen from online is that people were okay with what they had or when he first showed himself as Batman, but they're saying all those other suits are much better than the one he opened up with.
I mean, again, I love the Keaton suit, right? Like, it's one of those things that's like ingrained in my brain. But yeah, looking at it, the one he has in the scenes is, I would say, probably inferior to some of the other things you see with the emblems and the way they're built. And again, I get, like, his Batman was restricted. He couldn't move his neck and all that, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Why, like, he looks uncomfortable. Like, there's the one scene where he's standing there and the camera like pulls up into him and you almost like, this looks more uncomfortable than the Batman Returns suit. It's weird because
that's because Ezra Miller's doing something off camera.
Like here's the best way I can describe it. They took the '89 suit and said it needs to be the same, but we need to apply modern technology and suit advancements, and the two clash because they come from different principles of design. That's the only way I can describe it. Like, it's a little weird looking.
Yeah, because when I look at it, to me, it just seems like he doesn't have a lot of mobility to actually look around. So he has to move his whole entire body in a direction of where he wants to have people pay attention.
Which is weird, right? Because they've kept that, like, they're leaning into that factor. But then you see him flipping all over the place, and it's so out of place. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't mesh together. It proper took me out the trailer.
That's what I'm saying. It's the old principle. It needs to be the same thing, but change it enough. It's like, yeah, his helmet, like, I don't know. It looks a little weird. I do like all the other suits we've seen it, though. Like, you see references to his version of, I guess, the Nightmare sequence. You see the Robo suit there. Like, those are some incredible suits. I hope he puts some of those on. You see the classic suit from, like, Returns back there. Like, there's a lot there. I just hope that's not there for Easter eggs, but I feel like ultimately it's probably going to be.
Oh, it's going to be.
Yeah.
He ain't going to wear more than one.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like, it's just a cool shot to get people excited for it.
Toy people still make every single one just because they're there on screen. But I doubt he'll ever actually put them on.
Sadly. So, overall thoughts on trailer? Keaton, exciting. Supergirl, exciting. Ezra, so we'll see what that happens.
Yeah. So I was just making the offhanded joke that they hid the Reverse Flash in plain sight in that trailer. So
they did though.
I'm going on. It's supposed to be Kid Flash. Yellow bit.
I mean, it could, but it's just weird.
It is weird because there's the Funkos and like there's like the Barry that is in the yellow is wearing like what looks like a homemade Kid Flash suit. But then you see him in the actual Flash suit and he's standing there like his head down looking up and it's like I can see it. I can see this going the Reverse Flash route.
Yeah. Well,
but overall I think it was aggressively mid, the entire thing. It didn't really do much for me personally. But
the Flash stuff does nothing for me, but the other stuff does something for me. That's kind of where I'm at. So, and again, I think it's the Ezra factor. Like, that's looming hard.
I think it's a combination of that and, everything in this movie isn't going to matter apart from the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Of course, it's a reboot movie. Fantastic. I will, I might read a wiki because I'm not supporting this movie.
Yeah. I got my free ticket, thank God. So, all good. So, obviously, we're going to talk more about this when we get closer to it, everybody. So, stay tuned and let us know your thoughts on the trailer. Let's get to part 2 of the MCU Phase 4 wrap up. And we're going to start off with Moon Knight, the TV series. This was originally in discussion for development as far back as 2010. I found mentions of Moon Knight coming. So it's been a long time. It took over a decade. We finally got it.
It's one of the better TV series that me personally I do love.
Yeah.
Even though I have been seeing online stuff where fans potentially wanted a more Spawn-esque version of Moon Knight because apparently, like we tired saying is apparently seeing blood and gore makes it more adult and it makes it vastly different instead of the themes that they want to have a talking point for. Mental health and in this case, they had put around it with child abuse.
Yeah.
So it's like you can have an adult, an adult superhero show without having blood and gore, but that's all what people really want is
there's that one panel from that one run that's not indicative of Moon Knight where he tore someone's face off, so it must be what Moon Knight's like.
What was that, Bushmaster? I think is that who he
I think it was.
I think it was. Everybody just talks about that one thing. Again, this goes back to the tried and true. Everybody going, see, Jason Momoa was perfect as Aquaman and using images of Sea King. You're like, that's literally the wrong character. Literally not even the same. Like, people get that concept with Moon Knight. You're just like, there's more to him than just that one panel. But overall, I thought the series was great. The last episode is wild. Like, it is. That thing is so impressive.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it from the start. But
Yeah, you're technically correct. It's a Bushman, and it's from the 2006 run, so it's not even in the original runs of.
I'm saying it's like Moon Knight Max or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
Max
I think so.
It's been.
So yeah, people are referencing that run from a couple of decades ago, and not they're close to his original run. So yeah,
the fact that you said a couple of decades ago hurts so bad.
I know.
I know. I had to correct myself. That's so I what I said.
I've already got a backache as it is because I almost fell ass over a tit on the mud walking the dog. But goddamn,
I would have went like just really really long time ago, and I had to correct myself. It's only a couple of decades old, so I was like.
So what do you mean the 90s was 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Crazy. Okay, so we're all agreed. Moon Knight, great. Next up.
Yeah, I really like Moon Knight.
Yeah, it's what else is there to say? I know people don't like it because it's not violent enough, but okay, fine.
I say there's some. You can have a conversation about the show with how faithful of an adaptation it actually is, which it does change a lot of what Moon Knight is, but it's not inherently bad because of it. The core of Moon Knight is still there running around.
Yeah,
and it's like this weird. Like I guess discourse in the show itself is around Moon Knight's actual, his armored costume, because people wanted it to be like his original one, where it's like made of cloth instead of looking like a mummy. Where a lot of people saying they like it, where it has like it's an armored mummy look, where it looks pretty good, and surprisingly, people are okay with the show's rendition of Mr. Knight. Where they said that it did a good job about that suit.
They based that more on Jeff Lemire's run, right, from a couple years ago. Yeah. So I mean, it fits. Like, what are you gonna?
Yeah, it's just that weird, like this weird like monkey paw thing where his armored Moon Knight suit is quote unquote horrible to a loud minority, but his Mr. Knight suit is loved by everyone because it's a really good job and rendition of that version of the suit.
I think the two suits we got are by far some of the best they've ever done.
Same. Yep.
Yeah. Especially the Mark Spector's one. I think that thing's stunning.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed old Lockley gets one in season 2, because I want the three of them together.
And I want them to do that action sequence where they're alternating suits, but between the third one.
It's going to happen. You know it's coming.
Yep. Well, okay, off of Moon Knight and expectations, let's talk about how everybody was disappointed because 790 cameos did not happen according to insiders. Doctor Strange in the multiverse of cameos.
Like everyone's coming. Even Tobey Maguire is going to show up as that version of Spider-Man to help him out.
Yeah,
I think Maguire was actually supposed to be in it at one point.
I think it was talked about, but they talked about it, but they never really went through with anything. And then there's Ghost Rider was supposed to show up. I'm not entirely sure which Ghost Rider was supposed to show up, but one of them.
Yeah,
people were just taking whatever they could think of.
People literally looked at the multiverse, being like, okay, what movies exist? Well, clearly that character. I mean, at one point they were saying Eric Bana's Hulk was going to appear in it.
Yeah,
like Shrek Hulk. Come on.
And then was it at one point that was Xavier from the X-Men was going to show up to help out too.
He did.
He did. I know he did, but
people were saying McAvoy and Stewart were going to show up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look, it's my second favorite MCU film, but that was kind of like a given. It's like, okay, you got Sam Raimi, you got him essentially making a new Evil Dead film in the MCU. Like, I love this thing.
Yeah, I was like really surprised at what happened with the sequel to Doctor Strange, because I didn't think it was going to be as good. It exceeded my expectations of where they were going to go and what they could actually do with the PG-13 movie.
Yeah, and
I was like, with them, like, I guess rotating things around to where the technicality where they were going to make Doctor Strange the focal point of this going forward, with how he's protecting the multiverse and trying to I guess see what he can do to protect Earth 616. I know people are mad about that because it's supposed to be what, like Earth 149 or something like that.
Recurring 9999.
Yeah.
And then, like, I love that they actually went in with the comic book stuff. I know when we talked about with our review of Multiverse of Mass, where people were mad that it's too comic booky. I'm like, what do you expect? It's like this is what.
Yeah, we've come at this point now, right? Like, it's is it too comic booky? People now it's like, oh no, now it's too comic booky. Like, it's okay, he's gone full circle.
Yeah,
but I found it interesting, and I think you can see it in the final movie. Like, this was originally supposed to be a Scarlet Witch solo movie.
There is
and it was eventually reworked to be a Doctor Strange.
I get the feeling it was supposed to be the Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch were supposed to be co-protagonists, but they reworked it to be mostly about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think that was after, because it might not even be true, but like it was originally developed as a Scarlet Witch solo movie. Then it became Doctor Strange, where the two of them were together, and then it was reworked to, because this movie changed like 8 different times.
Yeah. I mean, remember,
like
the initial script to the major changes by Derrickson 3 times to Sam Raimi coming on, redoing it completely twice, and then a major rewrite so they could finish it like 6 weeks out from the film's premiere. Like, this thing was, again, it was chopped up a lot. So
it's amazing it came out actually looking like a movie.
Yeah, it really is.
But it would explain why everyone's kind of forgotten how to read a character arc for certain people, and especially certain specific female characters, and it's all let's ignore the brainwashing and the possession. Let's blame it on them. But
well, I mean, Doctor Strange then came, it went, and we were quickly followed up by another MCU project. This, of course, being Miss Marvel. So this was a long time coming as well. Like,
yeah, it's really good, but great show. Though I did kind of miss how much effort and work went into some of the later episodes, because you saw the uniqueness from like the first 2 episodes of where like they were using art from like the graffiti to exemplify what's going on, especially like with the text messages and stuff, or the kites rearranging to text messages and stuff like that, to where you would see that barely at all near the end. And then I'm still up in the air about changing her powers for the most part. And now
still salty about it.
Yeah, and now currently she is a mutant, not the first mutant, but she is a mutant so far, and not an Inhuman. So
I'm still on the copium that it's why would him saying it make it like factually that she is a mutant? Like, what does he know? Like, he's just some dumb kid. Like, shut up, Bruno. There's a reason no one talks about Bruno. Go away.
And then like I'm still trying to remember the villains.
Clandestines.
Yeah. It's because like they're not like the clandestines in the comics, or if anything at all. It's just they're just there to push the plot along and then be forgotten when most of
they literally show up to drop exposition and then to literally die. They literally just show up exposition and die. You're like, oh, okay.
They are absolutely, without a doubt, the worst villains they've ever had. Malekith doesn't even come.
It's like we have one of them. It's like we have one of them left, and then oops, we got cosmic stuff to worry about now. So we'll push them off to the corner.
That's the thing. Like, they're just lucky that everything else in the show was so good that you can overlook that and still go, it was a good show, because that was.
If I can even put my own feelings aside about specific choices changed for the character, like take the villains out and that bit out, and it's still a really good show. Even though I've said it countless times with this show. This has the same problem Peacemaker had. Where it's like you did the wrong villains, and you then had a secondary villain which should have been the focus.
I'm glad that 3 people that saw Peacemaker will know what you're talking about, and that consists of you, Delton, and Nick.
With those 3 or 4 people who watched it, it's getting a second season. So
Woohoo!
I can't wait for it to literally just be a rehash of what the movie before it is.
Yeah. Amazing. So, yeah, Miss Marvel, it was good. In the summer, we saw the release of Thor: Love and Thunder. Who wants to talk about
I
Thor: Love
still
and Thunder?
stand by this is a good movie. You're just mean.
I am something.
I mean, it's basically the old man, get off my lawn.
Yes, that's true.
Jokes were funnier when I was younger.
Memes from 2013 don't belong in 2002 or whatever year that movie came out in.
I mean, at least people talk about it. Better than
yeah,
some other movies.
it's something.
I know. The screaming goats keep it relevant.
They were popular on TikTok at the time. It's fine. What's old is new again.
Looking at Thor: Love and Thunder, honestly, I think my biggest gripe is the runtime. I think it's too
short.
Too short. Like had another like 20 minutes to a half hour, you can make some of these scenes just last a little longer. Like when they're just talking about the consequences and everything and establishing the bigger ideas in the universe, there's almost this like it's too quippy and going by too fast nature where I'm like, just slow it down just a little.
Yeah, I can understand it going too fast, because like one of the really good things that I do like about Love and Thunder is where they established the multiple pantheons in the universe, and even though she didn't get like a speaking role, we did see the Panther goddess in that arena. Bast is there.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, I mean, that was great. I thought introducing Hercules finally was awesome.
Oh yeah,
like
that
was great.
See, I enjoy the movie. Is it my favorite? Nah.
Yeah, that's what
do I think he went too far after Ragnarok? No, I think he's exactly on par with Ragnarok. People who just not clocked onto that person.
What I think it is that people like assumed it was gonna be, I guess, similar to Aaron's run from Thor, God of Thunder, where it was this, you had like 4 or 5 issues of them just beating the crap out of each other, and you having this real money shots of the battle happening, and then this time travel element to it. But essentially wasn't that. And I think that's what people.
It's fine. We got a better money shot than Aaron could ever make. We got Eternity. Right. This movie is good based on the fact that we actually have Eternity in the MCU, and I will die on that hill. Because you watch, this movie's going to come back round in a massive way, and people aren't ready for it.
Oh.
You don't just drop Eternity in a movie like this and then never come back to it. Like, nah.
I sure do hope they would. No, actually, I like the character of Eternity. I like that idea, and that's a high concept to tackle. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to tackle that, especially when you get to, like, Secret Wars and stuff. Like, bro, you should probably talk about this massive power being over here that's, like, just kind of waiting. It's
just like, who's that guy? Oh, it's Eternity. Like, we opened that door a long time ago. Yeah. That's we live in that guy.
Yeah.
Somehow.
I mean, I can understand you saying that because people still forget that we've seen a bunch of Watchers, and people still forget that
that's true.
They're in the MCU.
They're in the MCU. Yeah. Huh. Well, bring all that around for Secret Wars. Pile on all the crazy characters like the Living Tribunal, who we've seen cameos of at least 3 times now.
If that man is not in Secret Wars, what the hell are they waiting for?
Yeah.
There's one point you have to use him. It's Secret Wars. I don't care how much you change in the story. You need the Tribunal in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. It's necessary. Okay, so after Thor: Love and Thunder, we had I Am Groot. I did not watch
I'm going to
this.
be honest, I watched an episode.
Yep.
That was it.
And
it's not even the fact that it was bad. I got confused to whether it's dropped all at once or if it was a weekly thing. I then find out it's all at once, but it's separate. Like, it's not all under one icon.
What?
Each episode has got its own separate icon, yeah.
Why?
I
Okay.
No idea.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird things where I saw it, I put it off, and I basically just forgot about I Am Groot. It's not I'll probably watch it at some point. It's just like not to say anything about it. It's quality or content. It's just one of those things where it's like I have other things to do at that point, and I'll get back to it when I can.
It's just like looking at it and trying to cut down my time. It's like, is this going to be important? No. Okay, then I don't need to watch it. Like that's kind of how it came to me, and I was like, And I knew what was up when my wife, who loves Groot, she was like, we don't need to watch this, do we? I was like, nope, good. If you don't want to watch it, I don't want to watch it. We're good. So like,
it's literally the entire thing is what does Groot get up to when he's not on screen?
Yeah.
The pushy effect when Groot is not around.
5 minutes of what is Groot doing at this exact moment in time?
Yeah.
It wasn't even like the one I watched wasn't even bad. It was actually quite funny, but I forget it exists.
That's unfortunate. But hey, something that we're not forgetting exists because people would not stop talking about it because apparently this came out, literally kicked your dog and burned your house down. She-Hulk Attorney at Law. My God.
It was good.
It was good. It was good.
Great show.
It was good to great, if not some of the best MCU at certain moments, and I will stand by that. Like, if we can just remove all the toxic side of whammon, they're pushing whammon. It's such a good show.
It's not even that. It's this weird. I guess it's just this weird thing to where certain people, if it's not into your interest or it's not to your liking, you don't have to watch it. It doesn't mean that it's bad, because for all intents and purposes, it's not bad. And then there's another side saying it's not comic accurate, and then there's people saying it's pretty comic accurate and not knows for how she interacts and talks to people, and then it's it's just bad. And like, no, it's just that you don't like it, and that's okay, but you can't say that it's genuinely bad and it's not comic accurate.
One of the funniest things I saw in regard to this entire thing, every week people saying this is the worst episode, I hate it, I'm not gonna watch this, I'm watching this for Matt Murdock, only knowing that they're gonna come into it going, I hate what they did to Matt. Like, it was like, you could not have predicted the reaction from when the show was dropping the first trailer to the end of it any better. It was like perfectly spelled out. You knew the exact discourse, when it was going to hit. And
but that's why they lent into it, right? Like, it wasn't a case of they predicted the reaction to anything, and that's why I took the piss in the show. It's just pattern recognition. You know what's going to happen and what's going to be said, because it's the same thing for everything. That's not a white guy.
Yeah, it's like essentially it's like they knew this is the reaction which was going to happen with that particular episode, so they could ride around it. And it was actually pretty funny once they called it out.
Yeah, I thought the show also tackled the character of She-Hulk just about as perfect as you could, and her place in the Marvel world and how people would react. I mean, they knew that toxicity was coming so well that they could write it into the show.
It's literally the plot.
Yeah, it's so genius. I mean, I get why people don't like it. But then there are those people that are level-headed that are like, hey, I've picked up a Marvel comic and, yeah, check it out. This is actually how She-Hulk is. And again, like Miss Marvel or Thor or whatever, it doesn't have to be for you. Not everything is meant for everybody. People, for some reason, people have convinced themselves that if it's in the MCU, it has to be for everybody. And that's not the case. Like, that's literally not the case for everything. Like, you can pick and choose what you want to watch. So, I thought it was a stellar show. Like, yeah, do I have problems with it? Of course I do. But the positives, in my opinion, outweigh the negatives on She-Hulk, like, tenfold. So,
So I think outside of a few dodgy shots, I can't even think of many problems I have with the show.
Oh, wait, you don't have a problem with She-Hulk twerking?
No.
I'd rather have a greasy, oiled up man do it instead, because it's a lot better at that point.
Having
100%, yeah, that's the only way it can't be woke, like not woke, no.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
like same with. I mean, I did have a couple issues with it, but they were like negligible because it's a really fun show. And it's like the only other thing I just didn't. thing I didn't understand is like, why isn't the Hulk in this series? Why is he Professor Hulk? And I was like, I kind of like this evolution of his character. Of course, he's gonna have his bouts with anger that we did see in the show, and he's still working on it. But yeah, people are too up in arms and worried about that they're never gonna get their Hulk in, I guess, action sequences again, since of how he acts, and it's like that's just the nature of what the story they're gonna tell. And one of the things I did get hung up about is the CGA on Hulk's son. I was like, what did they do?
I was just thinking about it.
Yeah, so what did they do your hair, man?
Dude, Scar looked
Someone
bad.
sat there and made a choice.
Yeah.
That was the result. It's like, how did we get here? Sure, if Stan Lee in that cameo was the barber on Sakaar, I can let it go. But right now, that is a hairline no one should have. That's horrendous.
Yeah, because I thought he was gonna have like this wild man look or a buzz cut, but I don't know what they did to his hair.
It's true.
He just doesn't want to be there. He doesn't know anyone on this planet. He's awkward.
I mean, we'll see the return of all these characters, so I'm excited to see more of She-Hulk.
Well, apparently they're not doing Young Avengers, so will we see the return of these characters?
Yes, of course. All right, Papa Kevin, standing literally with a picture of Black Widow shooting behind him, going, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, we see you, Kev. We see you.
It's not like Haley Steinfeld's been over there being like, yeah, I read Young Avengers to get ready for this role. It's like, of course you did. Yeah.
Of course you did. It's just going to take a little longer. Yeah. But our three final projects we're going to talk about in regards to Phase 4, Werewolf by Night. This thing has been in development as far as I can remember. The earliest thing I ever saw in Werewolf by Night, get ready for this one, kids, because some of you weren't even born, was in 1998 on superherohype.com.
Oh, wow.
When it was Spider-Man hype, okay? That's the first time I heard of it, and it was connected somewhat to the Blade and potential Morbius cameo that had to scrap at the end of Blade 1. So, like, Marvel in some way, shape, or form has been trying to get this off the ground for a while. In 2005, it almost happened again, but it was scrapped. We finally got it. And I'm going to be real with you. I think they could not have made a better first introduction to the concept of Werewolf by Night than they did here. They absolutely nailed it.
Because, for something that, it's what, 50 minutes long?
Yeah.
They set up a lot of stuff in this, Maybe Werewolf by Night's not the best name for it because it is really an Elsa Bloodstone special, but I ain't complaining. But yeah, the fact that we got Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, Elsa, and a ton of other stuff is just like, wow, they did that very quick, and it's insanely good.
It was almost like this quick, dirty, cheap world building. This is why this exists, and we're getting it done. And it's like, okay, you nailed it.
With everything that happened, it's really amazing that they made essentially like a short movie to introduce a lot of other concepts to a part of the MCU that hopefully we're going into moving forward. So
the whole the ending it still sticks to me. It's like, right, the old stuff's done now it blends into the new with that color change. It's like you've had your old creepy horror now, or like little cheesy creepy horror now. We're going into a new generation. I just Michael Giacchino just knocked that out of the park.
Yeah, he did. And like also the amount of violence in it I thought was great as well. Like, I mean, again, I've told people I've read the Werewolf by Night comics, and like I could see specifically what they were pulling from and how they were tackling the whole like horror tropes of we don't have to show it all, but we can imply and show elements of it. And they perfectly nailed it. Again, like I just thought it was a very well made project from start to finish. It couldn't have turned out better. So
it gave me a practical Man Thing suit. I can't complain.
Yeah,
my boy finally exists, and I need more.
What do we get first? Man Thing special or the Swamp Thing that James Gunn announced?
Man Thing.
Yeah,
all right,
Man Thing.
Yep.
We're still 2 years out from another Superman movie. Like, there's no ways. Like, Swamp Thing's at the end of that first chapter list. Like, he's
Yeah.
I'd be amazed if I lived to see that movie.
Same. As a Swamp Thing fan, it hurts me to say, but yeah. Yep. I'm going to be watching Man Thing first multiple times, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But after Werewolf by Night, we only waited like 6 to 7 weeks, and we finally got Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
I love this movie. I actually
Same.
watched the other night.
It's apart from my misgivings about the end, it was a good movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me,
I'll say on paper, I'm right there with you, Tristan, about it. It's such a cheesy idea. It's, oh, look, the sun's there, but I think the way they go about and handle everything is I really liked and appreciated it.
Yeah, it's just because I guess this is a whole. Aside from the whole situation, this was a holdover from what the original concept of Black Panther 2 was going to be, which is T'Challa.
Yeah, because we know.
Yeah, it's just T'Challa. Yeah, it's just T'Challa coming back from being snapped, and he has a son, and it's him trying to figure out what his purpose in this new world is, because essentially the world went on without him, and essentially Wakanda technically doesn't need him right there and then, but he does have a son. So yeah.
Well, also on the other side of the coin, we were going to get Shuri as Black Panther anyway. Apparently, this was always going to have 2 Black Panthers. It was always going to be the plan. So
I mean,
it's interesting how they kept like the core of the movie and reworked everything around.
That's like the thing that strikes me is that if you hear what they said, and they even released like old things from when they were developing Black Panther 1, the core of Black Panther 2 was always Namor is the villain, 2 Black Panthers. We were going to introduce his son at the end anyway. So effectively what they did was rewrite the entire thing to remove T'Challa and give Shuri an amped up role, but everything else stayed the same in a weird way, which, again, the fact that this film works the way it does after such a tragedy, and the fact that they didn't have to change too much of the core ideas and the push for what they were going for, is honestly a testament to Ryan Coogler being such a talented director. And
yeah, because at the core of both, at least from what we know of the original one, it's all about legacy, and they just slightly just twist what it was meant to be, or how they were going to deal with legacy to how they did deal with legacy. And that's why I like the kid at the end, right? Because let's be honest, he's going to grow up, be an adult T'Challa in 5 years' time in the MCU situation. So, and they're not going to play him off as a different character. It's going to be, this is just exactly what T'Challa would have been at this point anyway.
Right. And
they're going to handle it that way. It's like, no, this Wakanda Forever is saying goodbye to Boseman. We're not saying goodbye to T'Challa. They're recasting it, but they're giving you an in-story reason, right? So it's they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. So we'll see how
they're essentially trying to have I guess tasteful way of doing it, but in all the sense of the word, it's just sometimes it's a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
I'd say with the situation they had, it was never not going to be. You're always going to have a bit like, you're never going to see T'Challa Jr., for a lack of a better name, without going, well, that's not T'Challa, that's his son.
I guess that's why they chose that he wasn't going to be T'Challa Jr. It's just going to be T'Challa.
Yeah.
Hey, TJ, that's not a good Black Panther name.
So, okay, Wakanda Forever, great. Also introducing Namor after.
He's fantastic. I love how he does.
Yeah, Namor's great.
I said the one thing I didn't like about this movie is the slow-mo in the final scenes. He just overdone it, and I can't understand why it's all there. Because it's not there throughout the entire movie, and suddenly in the final fights, it's slow-mo everywhere.
Well, Mitchy Mouse, if you knew who the blueprint for comic book movies was, you'd understand that this is harkening back to
I don't
Snyder.
remember any slow-mo in Cameron movies.
That's true.
The fight itself was, it was too much, unfinished CGI. It was kind of wonky. The one part I did like is where, Shuri basically baked Namor on the beach. Also hoping that she might die as well, but as long as she takes him out, it's okay.
And I do want to bring this up because a lot of people felt the same way I did. going into this, I was like, I want to see what they do with Riri Williams. After this, I am so hyped for more Riri in the MCU. This movie was like the sell point for me.
No, I like
so
Riri. It's just that in the movie itself, you could take her out of it or replace her with someone else. And, it's like
she's definitely she was a plot device. She got the ball rolling on everything. I just hope they change. Obviously, they're going to change the suit, right? Because Shuri keeps that. But that suit was not good. It looked
that's like because I think in concept art they showed what it actually looks like without the extra boosters and stuff, which is actually a little bit better. It's a little more appealing, but for some reason,
does she still have like the shins of like 12 horses in that?
It's just like. At this point, it was essentially just a Wakandan version of the armor that she's eventually going to build herself.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess, but you didn't need to have those extra boosters and wing compartments to it because it kind of ruins it.
I say it felt really old janky while trying to be like high tech. It's like you don't need those. Like you built this suit, you don't need these big massive boosters on it. But that's just nitpicky. That's just whatever. What I found interesting is they've come out and said that the reason why Dominic Thorne got the role of Riri Williams is because she was going to be Shuri.
Yeah.
She actually went the Shuri role, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to go to Tisha Wright," and then it's like, "Hey, we're doing this character now." Like, come on.
I mean, pretty good way because they knew they had somebody who was still interested. So like, here you go. It's her energy, all her scenes. Yeah, I just can't wait for more. So. Wakanda Forever. Obviously, we're going to get more Black Panther. Can't wait. But the year and Phase 4 did not end with that because it ended with the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Yes.
These specials.
Yeah.
these specials are knocking it out of the park. I adored this.
So good. I don't
say if it was Christmas, if it wasn't because it was a Christmas thing, I'd be watching this like right now. But it's not Christmas, so I feel dirty watching Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I have that weird feeling too, where I'm like, if it's not Christmas and I'm watching, I'm like, no. Like, there's something
as a whole. It was fantastic.
Yeah, this thing to me just honestly won. Like, it was great. It was something that I wanted. That I didn't know I kind of needed. I was like, I want more of Nebula, I want more of Drax, but I don't know if I need it. And this was like, well, it's not a movie, but here you go. It's a mini thing, and it just further makes you love these characters who you know little about. You're like, I didn't need this.
I just like the idea. Gunn went, well, I didn't really use Drax and Mantis in Volume 2, so I'm going to make an entire thing for these two.
Yeah.
And bam, there you go. But at the same time, let me get all my Volume 2 out of my system, and so Volume 3 is safe from my shenanigans.
Right.
Because
good.
If I have a repeater, but if Volume 3 turns around, it's like, psych, on Volume 2 again, I'm going to absolutely cry. I'm going to be a broken husk of a person.
It's going to be just like the device that was sitting behind Dairy Queen or whatever. They're like, actually, Counter Earth has always been on the other side of the sun. You just never saw it. It's like, really?
Really? That is totally fine because that's what it is in the comics. That's how it should be.
It needs like a cloaking device. He cloaked it, okay?
Yeah. After all this time, they just didn't want to think about looking on the other side of the sun.
Yeah. Give me some mumbo jumbo that because it's the exact opposite side, it's in sequence to our Earth on the opposite side of the sun, it means that radio signals or whatever bounce off it and it doesn't see. Give me some absolute horse crap.
Yeah,
and
garbage.
I will be there 100%. No, make it as dumb as you possibly can make it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that sums up that we all have the holiday special. So that's kind of a look back on so far everything that happened in Phase 4. It was a phase of ups, downs, confusion for a lot of people, a lot of disdain for
needing to.
Yeah. Oh, people are dumb. My God.
Even the fact that people even now like, there's no direction for Phase 4. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But they told you the direction for it.
Yeah, this is a weird thing that people don't want to start from square one again. They just want more escalation.
I want people
but we got escalation. Loki was like the second thing to come out.
And the thing here is, like, we just discussed in the second part of Phase 4 discussion, we discussed 9 projects, which all came out in the same calendar year.
Yeah.
Bro, like, we had so much content that some people are taking it for granted now. It's like, nah, man, we've hit peak comic book time. Like, this is the golden age of comic book content right now. So
yeah, I didn't have a major issue with the amount of stuff we got. I know some people did, but it's like they were catching up from 2 years, so I got it from that angle. Thank God there's a 10-month break between like the Marvels and Captain America 4.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to that bit. Yes, we've got 3 shows coming in that time, but that's only 3 shows. That's totally manageable. But I'm looking forward to a slight break.
We're just going to add one thing because this will officially release before the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. As always, the box office is going to be a big deal, so we're just going to quickly do a little bit of talking on the box office. The predictions right now are the wildest I've seen in a long time for a comic book film. The low end, 90 million. The high end, 150. This thing has a $60 million buffer zone people expect it to land in. So, one, I think a lot of that goes to, well, it's Ant-Man. Are people still going to show up to see Ant-Man? You know, it's a valid question, I would say. Like, it's
valid.
Yeah,
but Ant-Man's $1 billion franchise, so
yeah,
people show up.
Yeah, especially with this, they're introducing a new overarching villain to this phase, so people are going to want to see.
Yeah, that's the bit that's going to bring people in. I mean,
I decided to just, like, as always, I'm just going to check how the local theater I go to on a, premiere is. It's as sold out as Wakanda Forever and as Thor and as Doctor Strange. Like, it's going to be a sellout crowd. So, like, all right, people are showing up.
Yeah, because from what I've seen, is they're basing it on the third part of the trilogy and a couple other movies of, I guess, lower tiered heroes. And they roughly make around close to 90 to 130 opening weekends. So it's just around there. I wouldn't be surprised if it beat all expectations. And so I'd put it down for I guess. Me for like a safe bet would probably put it down for like 140 opening weekend.
You're gonna go with 140. Wow. Okay. See,
I don't actually know.
Yeah, it's like this is a safe bet, but I know it could possibly exceed it. So that's the only thing.
I am going with 120. Like, I don't know.
Well, if you're going 120, Tristan's 140. I'm going to split the difference. I'll go 130.
130. We'll see who's closest without going over Price is Right style. Ricardo about to jump in after be like, 141, sir.
He's I told you it was 200.
Yeah. Like, I'm excited to see just how big a third Ant-Man film can be, especially when, like,
ironically very small because they're going subatomic.
Damn it. Oh, it's gonna make a good amount of money. We know that. The thing to me that I want to, like, look at here is the bigger picture is going to be the reviews, right? As we're recording this, reviews haven't hit, and could those affect anything? That's the big thing here for me. Like, did I have a holdover? Are people going to be,
I'm not entirely sure if reviews matter for Marvel movies anymore. You go back to Shang-Chi and Eternals, the complete opposite ends of the spectrum on reviews. They made 30 million difference between them.
True. Yeah, true.
Is it that much of an impact, these reviews? But
yeah.
I think people know now the early reactions are always best one since the last. Wow, big thing happened. Best thing.
If
best
you
Marvel
take
movie.
a shot for every time somebody says the best MCU project since Endgame and or the best DC project since The Dark Knight, you will literally not survive. Like, you will be on the ground by the time you're done reading those reviews. So, like, I'm optimistic. I'm hyped for it. I'm seeing a lot more of my friends that, like, coincidentally enough, the same people that were like, I'm burnt out on the MCU. I don't know if I want back in. Well, they're all showing up for Ant-Man now, so I think people are slowly starting to catch back up and just, get back to a normal. Get back to the theater, watch the Marvel film, shut your brain off. It's
Yeah, I think the burnout was starting to get to some people because there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And if you make it your entire personality, you're gonna get burnt out. But
yeah.
If you're a normal person and you can spread things out, then you should be fine.
It's like me with Star Wars. People are still like, "How's Andor?" I'm like, "I'll let you know when I start." I'm sorry.
I can't wait for Star Wars to come back with Mando season 3.
It's
been a long time since I can't remember what was before.
I will be watching that the moment it drops. But Andor, I'm like, I'll get to it this summer or sometime. I don't know.
I say, wow, the gap between Obi-Wan and Mando was massive. Like, wow.
Yep.
It's been so long.
It's true.
I actually can't believe I forgot about Obi-Wan. I love that show. That's how bad Andor was. It made me forget about something I like.
Well, hopefully Ant-Man doesn't make people forget about anything. And remember, they're still very much saying this film, it's a big deal. You're going to want on this because this sets the tone for what's coming in the Infinity, post-Infinity Saga to Multiverse Saga. So, like, I guess this is kicking off Phase 5. You want to be on the ground floor for this one. So, we'll see.
It's nuts that Phase 4 has just come and gone, and there was like 1,001 projects in it.
Yeah, crazy. So we will obviously return next week to talk about the actual box office and what happens with it, and we'll look at it and realistically look at some of the predictions of where it ends. But it's looking like it's going to keep a pretty good. It's definitely not going to do worse than the first 2 Ant-Mans, so it only has upwards to go because those did they did better than most people expected, like $600 to $750 million per Ant-Man.
They made more money than Batman and Superman.
Somehow.
Someone's going to call me up on the box office numbers for that. And it's like, yes, but profit margins is what I'm talking about.
Little did you know, Nick has just thrown his keyboard out the window, typing so furiously.
So what do you mean Ben Affleck had a flop? No.
That's impossible. Yep.
Funny.
There we go, everybody. So that was the podcast here today. Honestly, you guys might get this directly to YouTube as soon as I start uploading it and get the process to run, because I want this out probably before Ant-Man even drops. So you're not going to have to wait till the weekend. Well, and it's also been a longer podcast. We're going to be out like an hour and 10 or something, so it's one of the longer we had for a while. But hopefully everybody enjoyed it.
Still got members topic.
Yeah, exactly. We got a members topic for you guys coming out anyway, so check that out, where we're going to be talking about the cause and effect of the Ezra Miller situation and the backlash that could potentially hurt the film. And luckily in those conversations, we don't have to watch our language or anything because we don't make money off of them. They're demonetized as it is. So hopefully we see you guys there. And till next week or next podcast, whenever that might be, next week, the week after, a month from now, I don't know. We'll see you there, though. Hopefully. We'll see.
It'll be next week because time's not real.
True. There we go.